If you're faithful and still broke, it's not your faith. You tithe. You pray over every dollar. You do everything they tell you at church. And the number at the bottom never moves. Here's why. The church taught you about 10% of what God actually said about money and skipped the other 90. There are around 2,300 verses in the Bible that touch money. You got a handful, and almost all of them were about giving. That's the half map. It's real, but it's only page 1. So that quiet question you'd never say out loud, God, what am I doing wrong? Hear me. You are not doing anything wrong. Nobody ever read you the rest of the instructions. Tonight, I'm giving you the other 90. The 9 steps God already wrote down, the ones you were never shown. And stay with me to step 7, because there's one almost nobody connects to money. It's the same thing that pulled Ruth out of poverty with nothing in her hands. For a lot of you, it's the one you needed most. Step 1, build the muscle, not the wish. There's a verse almost everybody quotes wrong. Deuteronomy 8:18. Remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. Read that slowly. He does not say He gives you wealth. He says He gives you the ability to produce it. In the original Hebrew, that word is chayil. It means strength, capacity, the power to make something happen. So here's the quiet difference that changes everything. Most of us have been praying for the check to show up. God promised the muscle to build it. Those are 2 different prayers, and only one of them is the prayer He already answered. Here's your move tonight. Stop asking what God is going to drop in your lap and ask what He already put in your hands. Pick one skill the market will actually pay for. Writing, repairs, editing, bookkeeping, cooking. Whatever your hands can learn. You do not need money to start learning it. You need one quiet evening and a free video. The muscle is the seed. Plant it tonight. Step 2. You have to see it before you can steward it. Let me tell you something most people never hear. That tithe you grew up with was not the whole picture. Many scholars actually count 3 different tithes in the Old Testament. There was the tithe for the Levites. There was a tithe for the poor every 3rd year. And then there was the festival tithe, and this is the one that surprises people. God told the people to take that portion and spend it on themselves, to eat it, to celebrate with it, to enjoy it with their family in His presence. It's right there in Deuteronomy 14. I tell you that because if you grew up believing every dollar that touches your hand is either a bill or a reason to feel guilty, that's the half map again. God built provision and even joy into His own system. He always meant for money to be managed across more than one purpose. Some of it given away, some of it enjoyed, some of it put to work, and you cannot manage what you refuse to look at. So tonight, start this. For the next 30 days, write down every single thing you spend, every coffee, every subscription you forgot about, every tap of the card. You're not budgeting yet. You're just finding the leak. And I promise you, there's a leak. Step 3, name the chain for what it is. Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Slave. Not inconvenienced, not a little behind. The Bible chose that word on purpose. Every debt you carry is a piece of your future that already belongs to somebody else. Now here's why I want you to sit with that word instead of running from it. Debt in Scripture is described as bondage, a position you're in. It is never described as proof that you're a bad person or that your faith is too small. So you can stop carrying the shame and start carrying the plan, because shame keeps it hidden and a plan kills it. Tonight, write down every debt you have, smallest to largest. Not the interest rates yet, just the balances, lined up where you can see them. You pay the minimum on all of them, and you throw every extra dollar at the smallest one until it's gone. Then you take what you were paying on that one and roll it onto the next, little by little, chain by chain. That's the snowball, and it's older than any money expert. It's Proverbs 13:11. Dishonest money dwindles away, But whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Step 4, gather by hand. That's the verse I just teased, and almost everyone reads right past the second half. Here's the part the English hides. In Hebrew, that phrase little by little is literally by hand, a handful at a time. And that dishonest money? The word for it means vapor, breath. Here 1 second, gone the next. So God already settled it. The lottery, or the slow build. He said the slow build is the one that lasts. $100 you don't touch becomes 1,000. 1,000 becomes 10. That's not magic. That's the math of patience. And patience is a command. So tonight, set up 1 automatic transfer. $10 a week into an account you don't look at. We call it the oil jar, from Proverbs 21:20. The wise store up oil. The foolish gulp theirs down. Start it tonight, even tiny. It's not about the $10. It's about becoming someone who gathers instead of someone who leaks. Step 7. This is the one I told you to wait for. Back in Leviticus, God gave a law that sounds small and is actually enormous. When you harvested your field, you couldn't harvest all the way to the edges. You left the corners standing. You left what you dropped, not as charity, as access. So anyone with nothing could come and work for their own provision with dignity. That law is the reason you know the name Ruth, a widow, a foreigner. No money, no husband, no safety net. She walked into the edge of a field that wasn't hers, and she worked. That's where Boaz found her. That's where the whole thing turned. She didn't wait for a miracle to fall on her. She worked the edge God left open, and the edge became a future. Here's why so many of you need this one. You keep waiting for one big door. God tends to leave the edges open instead. A side income. A small service, the skill you started sharpening back in step 1, something that needs no permission and no loan. So tonight, start 1. 1 income source outside your paycheck. Sell the skill, offer the service, list the thing. Freelance, resell, tutor, clean, cook, create. Zechariah 4:10 asks, "Who dares despise the day of small things? The edge always looks small. Ask Ruth how small it stayed." Step 8. Walk with the wise. Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Your circle becomes your ceiling. If everyone around you is broke and bitter, you slowly absorb broke and bitter. Not because they're bad people, because the room you're in sets what feels normal. You don't need another motivational video. You need a mentor. Someone who has walked the road and can point at the holes before you fall in. And here's the good news. You don't have to pay for it. Seed Time, a Christian couple who paid off a fortune in debt, free. Crown Financial Ministries, free coaching and a money map. Faith-driven entrepreneur, free groups if you're building something. And your own church almost certainly has people you've never asked. So tonight, find 1 person wiser than you with money. Ask them 1 honest question. That's the whole step. Just ask. Step 9. Build it clean or it doesn't last. Proverbs 11:1. The Lord detests dishonest scales, but accurate weights find favor with him. Here's the weight of that word, detests. It's the same kind of word Scripture uses for idolatry. God files cheating in business right next to worshiping a false god. That's serious. So if your plan to get ahead runs on cutting a corner, shading the truth, or making money off somebody who doesn't know better, you're not building. You're stacking cards. And Proverbs already told you how that ends. Vapor money dwindles. Honest money, gathered by hand, grows. Your name is worth more than your next dollar. Proverbs 22:1. A good name is more desirable than great riches. Build something your grandchildren can inherit without inheriting any shame. So tonight, fix 1 thing. 1 corner you know you've been cutting. Make it clean. Wealth God can bless is wealth He can trust you with. Let me say this as plainly as I can, because I think you've needed to hear it for a long time. It was never your faith. God isn't sitting in heaven ignoring the most faithful person in the room. Deuteronomy 8:18, the verse we started step 1 with. He gives you the ability to produce, not a windfall, the capacity. The seed is in your hand. The ground is in front of you. He sends the sun and the rain, but nobody, not even God, plants it for you. That part was always yours. So hear me. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You were never bad with money. You were handed half a map, and tonight you got the other half. You don't have to do all 9 at once. Just begin. Pick the skill. Find the leak. Name one debt. Start the jar. Set the percentage. Take it out of the dirt. Work one edge. Ask one wise person one question. Build it clean. Just begin. Tonight. If something in you shifted while you watched this, do 2 things for me. Share it with the one person you know who's quietly praying for a breakthrough and going under in silence. They need these verses broken down more than they need another sermon. And drop the words OILJR in the comments so I know you started your jar tonight, even if it's just a few dollars. This is Bible Assets. God didn't forget your finances, and He hasn't forgotten you.